sizable financial decision that you're going to make, on the same level as buying a house, buying a car, getting a loan of some sort, because it affects your finances for the next couple of years at least. I used to be in a union, International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Local 299 president at that time when I was there was probably a dead guy named Jimmy Hoffa. The union will be your representative, and you'll have no more rights to speak directly with people in management about the terms and conditions of your working here at Noevo. In fact, it would be a crime, a federal crime for me to do that. If there are things that are important to you that aren't reflected in the way the union wants to negotiate and prioritize things, if you don't change their minds as to what's a priority during the contract negotiations, if it's important to you, there's a chance it won't show up on what's going to be negotiated on your behalf. And whatever's negotiated on your behalf, like you said, you'll have a contractual relationship. If things change, they don't change in the contract. You're locked in for X period. This is what you're going to get. This is what you're not going to get. All the rest of that stuff. That's why they have collective bargaining. The union, just like Noevo, it's a business. That's the beginning and the end of it. It is a 501c5, which means that they have some tax exemptions, but it's not a nonprofit. They have, again, this is all publicly available. IRS, they have to file tax returns. They file stuff with the Department of Labor, all of this. And the AFL-CIO, which is typically who the affiliations go through, there's a whole bunch of rigmarole that goes through there. But it's a business. You can call it this, call it that. It is a business. All this being said, remember, look at the news. About a 3% unemployment rate in the United States. So if people want to go someplace else to go work, not that tough. They're trying to import people to go to the jobs. So the labor market is a whole different ballgame. That's the wild card in all this stuff. And again, we compete on a global economy now. Back in 1935, everybody in the United States, the only thing they ever drove at that time was American cars. They bought American goods. They used American clothes and all that stuff. Not anymore. It's a way, way bigger landscape that we're painting. I personally, again, I told you, at the point in time for this company, with the way that this workforce is formed, the relationships that we enjoy with you, I think this is the wrong thing at the wrong time. This is a huge market that we're making great product, we got good people, we got a lot of plans, and I just think it's a wrong thing, the wrong time. But we respect you, that's why we're trying to inform you, make the right decision that's good for you. But you need to know everything, and this is what you're signing up for the term of the contract. With rules, there's always consequences. Any member may be charged, tried, and disciplined for a violation of any of the above offenses or for offenses set forth in the local union bylaws in accordance with the procedures provided in this Constitution. So they can put you on trial? So wait a minute. The union Constitution or rules, they're really, really hard to understand. There's a lot of words written by lawyers. Like I said, I got an advanced degree. A lot of this stuff, I have no idea what it means. You've never been in a union. If you've never been in a union, you have no idea what the Constitution is, how it applies to you. Do you deal with it every day? Do you deal with it never? No idea, because you've never been in. I was in with a Teamster. The last thing I did was read the Constitution, and that was stupid. You will be put on trial if you're in violation of these laws that are very, very blurrily written, and you won't have a lawyer, and you can get a financial impact, a fine against you. That's their law. And the only help you get is from a buddy who you work with, not a lawyer, just somebody that you know at work who's a fellow union brother, and they're going to be your defense that somebody's going to come and try to take money out of your back pocket. So you're saying that you're gonna trust somebody here sitting in this room to professionally defend you against a bunch of people who do this for a living. The guys in the executive board, they're 1208, they're lifers, they're making a ton of money. I just sit there and collect dues, not bad. Remember, when you go on strike, you don't get a paycheck. And the last time that the UFCW had a strike was in San Diego, and the employees were ineligible for any strike fund payments for 2 weeks. That's 14 days, not 10, 14 days. And their strike benefits were, and you can look this up, folks, I'm not making it up, it was $100 a week.
They make it really, really, really hard to stop paying dues. This reminds me of like a really shitty gym membership that you just want to get out of. The stipulations on it are insane. My point to this are a couple things. One, why is this the thing that's guaranteed in legalese terms? Their services aren't, their product aren't, their representation isn't, but this is, that they're gonna get paid. The UFCW made $220 million last year, and they probably made some of that for members who couldn't pay their rent or pay their bills. They didn't check to make sure they were paying bills or paying their rent before they took their money, just a little bit less than what they actually earned by working. They took that out before they checked in with them. Again, union members, probably some who don't even have benefits, paid $90 million for the benefits of UFCW employees. So that is fantastic that the union does a great job with their employees, that they give them benefits, that they give them a nice salary. The point again that I'm trying to make is that that's members' dues that are paying for all of those things. What bothers me is their huge salaries that they're getting paid solely by members' dues.
Unionization changes our legal relationship with you. It changes how we handle your problems. It pits us against each other in negotiations and grievances and arbitrations. It adds a layer of bureaucracy and hoops to jump through. It adds cost. It forces us to apply a one-size-fits-all approach to people that we see as unique individuals. I read about members who were pissed at the union for not representing them. I read about how much money the top old white guys at the UFCW were making. I heard about the sexual harassment cases in San Diego and the people who stole from Local 1208 for years before they were finally caught. And I thought, oh my God, I wouldn't want anything to do with this organization. This isn't progressive. This is the exact opposite of what we stand for and who we are. And we have to tell our team before they vote. Because I don't want to sit here in silence and have them come to me in a year and say, Phaedra, this shit sucks. Why didn't you tell me? I'm not the one that gets to decide whether a union comes in here. You get to make that decision. So to answer your question, that's why we're having these meetings. That's why we're taking all this time to teach you about the law and the union. That's why we've prioritized this over working, and why we're paying you to sit here and listen to us. We're investing in your education about unions because we believe it's that important to your future. And it's that important to the future of our company. A lot of people think that having a contract means absolute job security, that no matter what, you get to keep what you have. The reality is that the only thing that can guarantee job security is the success of this company. If No Evil Foods fails, we all fail. The contract cannot keep us open. It's not going to sell our product. It's not going to secure our investments that we need to remain competitive. The contract won't pay you if we run out of money. The only way that we can achieve real job security is by growing and selling more and having the flexibility to evolve. Of all the things that I've talked about today, this may be the issue that concerns me the most. Because at No Evil Foods, we take our commitment to preventing harassment and discrimination really seriously. That is not part of our culture. We do not tolerate it. And it has no place here. If someone's accused of harassment and an investigation confirms the misconduct, then we're going to terminate that person. We've done it before. We will do it again. And I'm horrified at the thought that a union that's supposed to represent all of you, including anyone who is subject to harassment, might fight to put that person back to work. And maybe they wouldn't. I mean, they do have the right not to process a grievance, and they definitely have a history of abandoning cases along with their members' wishes. But what if that person who got accused was a union steward? What if the person who was harassed was someone who had been vocally speaking out against the union?
And given the UFCW's already bad history of sexual harassment at high levels, as well as how the national UFCW ignored the complaints of women for years, I would be very concerned that the union would take your harassment complaints as seriously as we would.
So why am I making all these points about the importance of investment dollars? Well, because it's a very real risk that having a union at No Evil Foods will greatly impact our ability to continue raising capital, which risks the survival of our business. To be frank, I have one of our current investors say this week, I've seen hundreds of companies come across my desk, and I have never seen an investment in a unionized startup, especially not at this stage. If I was looking at this business for the first time, I would run the other way. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, but we're not the only option investors like this have. And we do need capital to grow. It's not optional. Please understand that I have no control over what investors will do.
If you decide on February 13th that you'd rather rely on Local 1208 from Tar Heel, rather than working with me and Sadra directly, then don't be surprised if the union becomes just another supplier with whom investors want the company to negotiate. With that said, let me be clear. If you choose a union, No Evil Foods will send a team to bargain in good faith. But as I said earlier, don't be surprised if I'm not on that team. And don't be surprised if that team looks at labor as just another commodity where negotiations are about getting the best deal. Why? Well, as I said, by choosing UFCW Local 1208, you send a message to our investors. You don't want Sadra and me to look out for you. If that's the case, fine. Just remember at that point, from the investor perspective, it's not personal, it's business.
Please tell the investors you have confidence in our vision and give me a chance to see what we can do working together. If I fail, you can always bring the union back in a year. But once you bring them in, things will change, and you'll never know what we could have done together.
The contract won't pay you if we run out of money. The only way that we can achieve real job security is by growing and selling more and having the flexibility to evolve.